Okay, now let's discuss 270 plus theta. It was left. We had discussed 270 minus theta. Let's talk of 270 plus theta. When we talk of 270 plus theta, then 0, 90, 180, 270, 270 plus theta means it is going to fall in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, cos and sec are positive, the rest are negative. So sine, cos in front of cos I have put plus, and in front of sec I have put plus, the rest are negative. And it is 270. 270 is multiple of 90. So sine will change to cos. Sine will change to cos. So sine 270 plus theta will be minus cos theta. Cos 270 plus theta will be plus sine theta. Tan 270 plus theta will be minus cot theta. Cosec 270 plus theta will be minus sec theta. Sec 270 plus theta will be plus cosec theta, and cot 270 plus theta will be minus tan theta. So we discussed 90 plus theta, 90 minus theta, 180 plus theta, 180 minus theta. We discussed 270 minus theta, 270 plus theta, 360 minus theta, 360 plus theta. So as far as 180, 360 was concerned, sin, sin remained sine only, cos remained cos, tan remained tan. But when it came to question of 90 and 270, the sine changed to cos, cos changed to sine, sec changed to cosec, cosec changed to sec, cot changed to tan, and tan changed to cot. And the sine, SIGN, came according to which quadrant the angle was falling. Like 270 plus theta was falling in the fourth quadrant. It was falling in the fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, we know that cos and sec are positive, the rest are negative. So in front of cos I have put plus, in front of sec I have put plus, and the rest are negative. And because they are multiples of odd multiples of 90, so sine will change to cos, cos has changed to sine, tan to cot, cosec to sec, sec to cosec, and cot to tan. Now one thing, when it becomes minus theta, for example, I have written sine minus theta, I have written cos minus theta, I have written tan minus theta, cosec minus theta, sec minus theta, cot minus theta. We told you that when we move anti-clockwise, this is plus direction. This is plus. But when we move anti-clockwise, suppose from 0, this was 0, I moved clockwise, then this will become minus theta. So when we say minus theta, it will always come into the fourth quadrant, and it will follow the property of the fourth quadrant. Number one, as far as sine is concerned, that means cos and sec will be positive. The another thing is sine will remain sine, cos will remain cos, tan will remain tan. Like sine minus theta is minus sine theta, cos minus theta is plus cos theta, tan minus theta is minus tan theta, cosec minus theta is minus cosec theta, sec minus theta is plus sec theta, because here cos and sec are positive, the rest all are negative. Cot minus theta is minus cot theta. This covers all your angles. As far as 0, you can say 90, then we came to 180, then we came to 270, then 360, plus and minus both. And we explained to you in detail about this. We will keep coming back to it. It is not only that angle finishes at 360 plus theta, they can be multiples of 360, they can be multiples of 90 or multiples of 180. Now just to summarize all what we have done, to generalize that, these are the two axes, x-axis which is called horizontal line, and y-axis which is called vertical line. We have given it a name 0 to x, this positive side 1, this 2, this 3 and this 4. Along line 1, we will get values like 0, 2 pi, 2 pi is 360, 4 pi, 4 into 180, 720, 6 into pi, 6 into 180, 8 into 180. Because you will keep repeating, you will keep coming back and back again. Like it is one round, then you start again, you come second round, and then third round and fourth round, as many rounds. So 0 plus minus 2 pi, because you can start from here, it will come plus 2 pi, but if you start from this side, it will come minus 2y. That is why plus minus, because if you are traveling anti-clockwise, then you will get positive values. When you travel anti-clockwise, you will get negative values, 2 pi or minus 2 pi, 4 pi and minus 4 pi, plus 6 pi or minus 6 pi, plus 8 pi or minus 8 pi, and so on. So even multiples of pi, which are 2n pi, which is 2n pi. In general, we'll say 2n pi. On line 3, we'll get values pi, 3 pi, again pi plus minus pi, because if I go anti-clockwise direction, I get plus pi, but if I go anti-clockwise, I'll get minus pi, plus minus 3 pi, plus minus 5 pi, plus minus 7 pi. On this side, we'll get odd multiples of pi. Odd multiples means if you add 1 to the even number, then you get odd, 2n plus 1 pi. And if you combine these two together, then you get n pi, where n belongs to integer. You give any values to n and you will be able to obtain all the values, whether they are on line 1 or whether they are on line 3. Now let us see line 2. Along the line 2, I'll get pi by 2. I'm not writing minus pi by 2 because minus pi by 2 will be line 4, not line 2. Line 2 is plus pi by 2. This will be minus pi by 2. So pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2, 13 pi by 2. These are odd multiples of pi by 2. 4n plus 1 upon into pi by 2. 4n plus 1 means it is multiple of 4 and remainder 1. Remainder 1. It is exact multiple of pi 4 and remainder will be 1. That means if suppose I give n is equal to 0, so pi by 2. If I give n 1, 4 plus 4 into 1 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 pi by 2. If I give 3, 4 3s are, you will keep getting with the help of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, on line 4, I get 3 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, 11 pi by 2, 15 pi by 2, which are odd multiples of pi by 2, but 4n plus 3 pi by 2. When we join them together, represented by 1, it will be odd multiple of pi by 2, 2n plus 1 pi by 2. That means whatever the values we give to n, we will get corresponding values on this vertical line. Along the horizontal line, we told you sine will remain sine, cos will remain cos, tan will remain tan, and similarly the cot will remain cot, cosec will remain cos, cosec and sec will remain sec. But when we are talking of the vertical line, when we are talking of the vertical line, then what happens is sine changes to cos, cos changes to sine, and tan changes to cot, and cot changes to tan. Okay, again we are going to take the same figure, the two axes, horizontal axis and vertical axis, dividing the region to 4 regions, first quadrant, second quadrant, third and fourth. We have named this the 0 to x, O to x as line 1, O to y as line 2, O to x dash as 3, O to y dash as 4 lines, just to demarcate and show you that what happens along line 1. That means it is 0. To start with, it is 0 or 360 or multiples of that we told you. So 0 Sine theta and tan theta are 0. Sine 0 is 0. If you see the spatial angle table, you will find sine 0 and tan 0 as 0. Opposite of sine is cosec. So 1 upon cosec, 1 upon cos 0 or multiples of that will be not defined. And similarly, opposite of tan is cot theta, which will not be defined. So sine theta and tan theta are 0 along this line on line 1. Sine theta and tan theta are 0, and cosec theta and cot theta are not defined. But cos 0 and sec 0 are 1. Cos 0 is 1 and opposite of cos is sec, so sec 0 is also 1. So along this line 1, sine 0 is 0, tan 0 is 0. Sine 0 is 0, tan 0 is 1. If sine is 0, then opposite of sine will be 1 upon cosec. 1 upon 0 will be not defined. Similarly, tan, opposite of tan, reciprocal of tan is cot. So 1 upon cot, that will be 1 upon 0 will not be defined. So cosec and cot are not defined along this line. And cos and sec, cos 0 is 1, sec 0 is 1 obviously. Now let us see the line 2. That is the odd multiple 4n plus 1 pi by 2. 4n plus 1 by into pi by 2. Here it was 4n plus 1 into pi by 2. This will be very useful. I will explain it to you later. 4n plus 1, 4n plus 3 pi by 2. I will explain it to you after this, that why is it so. Now on line 2, along that values, we will see sine theta and cosec theta is 1, because sine 90 is 1 and sine 90 opposite of sine is cosec. So cosec 90 will also be 1. But cos 90, cos is always 0 along this line. Cos is always 0 along the vertical line, and sine is always 0 along the horizontal line. Cos theta and cot theta will be 0. Cos theta and cot theta will be 0. Opposite of cos is sec, opposite of cot is tan, so 1 upon 0 will be not defined. Along this line, cot and tan, sec and tan are not defined. Along this, cosec and cot are not defined. Why they are not defined? Because sine is 0 and as well as tan is 0. So opposite of sine is cosec, cosec is not defined. Opposite of tan is cot, which is not defined. Whatever is 0, opposite of that will not be defined. Cos is 0, so opposite of cos is sec, it will not be defined. Opposite of cot it's tan, which will not be defined. Now let us see the line 3. Along the line 3, the same thing will happen. Sin theta and tan theta are 0. Cos theta and sec theta, instead of plus 1, they will become minus 1. They will become minus 1. We will explain it to you when we will be talking about the graphs. We will be showing you the graphs. And then it says, because wherever 0 is there, opposite of 0 will become not defined. Sin, exactly the same thing. Cosec theta and cot theta are not defined. If they are not defined this side, they are not defined this side also. Along this line x-axis, cosec theta and cot theta are not defined. Cosec theta and cot theta are not defined. Along the vertical line, what is happening here? Which one is not defined? Sec and tan are not defined. Sec and tan are not defined. Now let us see on line 4. Let us see on line 4. Line 4 will be the same as line 2. Sin theta and cosec theta 1. So sin theta and cosec theta will be minus 1. Cos theta and cot theta will be 0. And sec theta and tan theta will be not defined. So this is just a general information which will be useful later on. Sine is always 0 here. Sine is 0. Sine and tan are always 0 along the horizontal line. If sine is 0, tan is 0. Why? Tan theta is sine theta upon cos theta. If sine theta is 0, that means this will become, tan theta will also become 0. So along this line, sine theta and tan theta are 0. And if sine is 0, then cosec will be not defined. And if tan is 0, then cot will not be defined. And cos theta and sec theta are 1. Same is followed everywhere. We told you that along line 2 we have 4n plus 1 into pi by 2, multiples of 4n plus 1, odd multiples of pi by 2, because 4n is an even number and 4n is also an even number. But if we added 1 or 3, it becomes odd pi by 2. Now what does it mean? For example, if I give you a value 187 pi by 2, that where will the 187 pi by 2 will fall? Along which line? Along line, it is certain that it is an odd multiple of pi by 2. It is going to fall either along to line 2 or along line 4. It can't be here because this is multiples of even multiples of, or even or odd multiples of pi. They are multiples of pi. So it is not going to fall along the horizontal line. It will fall along vertical line. How will I decide that I will take that many rounds that it comes here or it comes here? No. What we do is we divide this number by 4. Last 2 digits even you can divide by 4. Even the last digit, 2 digits you divide by 4. 4 2s are 8 and 4 1 are 4. What is the remainder? 3. If 7 is divided by 4, then remainder will be 3. So it is 3 here. If it is coming 3, then this will be along line 4. Along line 4. If the remainder after dividing comes 3, 4n plus 3, this number 4n plus 3 means this is multiple of 4, and when it is divided by 4, the remainder will come out to be 3. So the remainder is 3. When I divided 187 by 4, I will get the remainder 3. That means this 187 pi by 2 will fall along the line 4. For example, I have 75 pi by 2. 75 pi by 2. Again, I am going to divide it by 4. If I divide it by 4, again your remainder will come out to be 3. So again it is going to be 75 pi by 2 will also come along line 3. But if it is 73 pi by 2, suppose it is 73 pi by 2, it's an odd multiple of pi by 2. Again I divide it by 4. If I divide it by 4, I get the remainder 1. I get the remainder 1. So this will be 73 pi by 2 will fall along line 2. It is a very useful method for calculating where will this particular value will fall along, and then you will be able to calculate what will be the value of that. It is very important to see whether it will fall along line 1, line 2 or line 4. It's very simple to calculate on this Excel, but for this Excel the method is that you divide the coefficient of pi by 2 by 4 and see what is the remainder. Is it plus or minus? But one thing more, this is when the coefficient was plus. Suppose the coefficient becomes negative. If the coefficient becomes negative, forget about the negative, do the same method, division, and see whether remainder is coming 3 or 1. Now it will reverse. If the coefficient is negative and remainder comes out to be 3, then it will fall here and not here, because it is negative. It will fall along here. And if your remainder is 1 and your coefficient was negative, then the value will be along line 4. That you have to keep in mind. We had already discussed with class 9th the simultaneous equations. We had told you all the methods, possible methods. The first method of solving simultaneous equations was substitution. Second was elimination, and third was cross multiplication. Then we did various kind of questions based on that, and all the methods I applied and did some questions based on substitution, elimination as well as cross multiplication. Now we are doing problems based on simultaneous equation. When you will be given a problem and you have to solve it. We will be doing different kind of problem. Like first we are taking number problems. First is number problem. For example, just here, the ratio of two numbers is 2:3. The ratio of the two numbers is 2:3. If 2 is subtracted from the first and 8 from the second, the ratio becomes the reciprocal of the original ratio. Find the numbers. In these kind of questions, what we do is, we assume let the numbers be, solution is, let the numbers be x and y. Numbers be x and y. We have assumed the numbers to be x and y. He says the ratio of the two numbers is 2/3. So x upon y is 2/3. If I cross multiply this, I will get 3x is equal to 2y, or I will get 3x minus 2y is equal to 0. 3x minus 2y is equal to 0 is equation 1. I have got the equation 1. Now similarly with this equation was obtained from the condition 1. He said if two numbers are in the ratio of 2:3, so I assume the number to be x and y. I calculated the ratio of x to y is given as 2/3. I cross multiply, I got one equation. There is another condition which is given to you. From that condition I will obtain another equation. For example, he said if 2 is subtracted from the first, what is the first number? 2. X. From x, if 2 is subtracted. And from the second number, if 8 is subtracted, then the ratio becomes the reciprocal of the original ratio. What was the original ratio? 2/3. By doing this process, this will become 3/2. What did he say? If 2 is subtracted from the first number and 8 from the second number. If 2 is subtracted from the first number and 8 is subtracted from the second number, the ratio becomes the reciprocal. The ratio becomes the reciprocal. For example, x minus 2, the first number is x. I had assumed x upon y. So from x I subtracted 2. From y I subtracted 8. X minus 2 upon y minus 8 becomes 3/2. Let us cross multiply this. We will get 2x minus 4 is equal to 3y minus 24. Or we bring x terms one side again. That will become 2x minus 3y is equal to minus 20. Because minus 24 plus 4 will become minus 20. So this is equation 2. Now I get two equations in x and y. We have to solve them. If we solve these two equations in x and y, we will be able to get the value of x and y. For example, 3x minus 2y is equal to 0. And another equation is 2x minus 3y is equal to minus 20. Now I'll use the method of elimination. I'll make x terms equal. For example, if I multiply it by 2 and I multiply it by 3, what do I get? 2 3s are 6x, 2 2s are 4y is equal to 0. 2 into 0 is 0. 3 into 2 is 6x, 3 3s are 9y is equal to minus 60. We multiply the complete equation. That is why let me put it in the bracket and multiply the complete thing. So there is no confusion. Now we subtract because we have to eliminate x term and both x term has got positive sign. To eliminate that, let us do this. Subtract. When we subtract one equation from another, we change the signs. 6x will cancel. Minus 4y plus 9y is equal to 5y is equal to 60. So y will be how much? 60 upon 5. X will be 12. We've got the value of y as 12. Substitute y12 in equation of 1. Equation 1 is 3x minus 2y. So y is how much? 12 is equal to 0. So 3x will be 24, x will be 8. So the numbers are 8 and 12. The required numbers are are 8 and 12. X is 8 and y is 12. You can put that into your original question and see whether these numbers satisfy the condition or not. Let us see. He said the ratio of the two numbers is 2 upon 3. So 8 upon 12. 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12. So this is okay. The ratio of the two numbers is 2:3. Now he said if 2 was subtracted from the first number, 2 was subtracted from the first number and 8 was subtracted from the second number. So 8 minus 2 is 6 and this is 4. And he said ratio becomes reverse. It is obviously 3 upon 2. It was 2 upon 3. It has become 3 upon 2. So these two numbers satisfy these conditions completely. Hence, this answer is absolutely right. This answer is absolutely right. You can calculate the value of x and y and put it in the equation and see whether it satisfies the equation or not.